JPM, the biohubber here. I'm here with Simrit Parmar, the founder of Cellenkos. And first of all, let's just talk through the origin story of Cellenkos and the inspiration and mission behind it.
Thanks. Thanks for asking that question. By my background, I'm a physician scientist, and I started working on regulatory T cells in my laboratory almost more than a decade or so ago. And at that time, as a stem cell transplant physician, my focus was on graft versus host disease. So we were trying to create new models. And not only we were able to do preclinical studies, we were able to translate into phase 1/2 trial. As it happens, in Houston, Texas, I was actually very fortunate to befriend some of the folks from the venture community who actually inspired me to think about it differently, think about it as a company. And MD Anderson was very supportive. Dr. Parmar, who is the senior vice president now, he believed in what we were doing. And he was instrumental in acquiring our seed financing, which was, by the way, $20 million at that time. And the encouragement that I got from the university, from the investor, allowed for me to take that kind of courageous steps in not only launching the company, but also building the facility, doing the tech transfer. And here we are in front of you now in 2025. As a company, we have completed 4 phase 1 trials. We have treated approximately 80 patients across different conditions. And so far we have raised close to 50 million in equity financing. So we had a very disciplined approach. We wanted to make sure we focus on clinical data. We focus on patients and their objective outcomes. And we have a great team to accomplish this.
Yeah, and just talk through what sets you guys apart in this pretty competitive market.
I think I would focus on 2 main things that set us apart. Number one is our technology and the focus or the origin of the technology. And number 2 is our company structure, our business model. So in terms of the scientific part of it, the regulatory T cells that we have productized, they come from umbilical cord blood. And umbilical cord blood is the conduit between the placenta of the mother and the baby. So when the baby is born, the cord that connects baby and the mother is usually discarded or donated or basically preserved for yourself. Mm-hmm. What we found is that the baby is complete mismatch or 50% mismatch to the mother. So its nature has allowed the baby to exist in the body of the mother. So there are multiple cells and multiple mechanisms that induce that tolerance, which is part of the nature's development. In fact, it's the mammals that have these regulatory T cells that are clearly defined. You don't see it in birds and all that. So we took this cell that nature has bestowed with the properties of being anti-inflammatory, of being suppressive, and we were able to productize that. And one of the biggest differentiators is that these cells do not flip-flop. They don't become effector T cell or they turn into a different type of cell, which is a big problem for autologous Tregs when you take your own cells. Number 2 is that because these cells are so naive, they have a huge ability to proliferate. That means when we infuse it into the body of the patients, they can multiply, they can divide, and they can grow based upon how much inflammation is there. And number 3, because of their resilience and because of our company's proprietary technology, we have been able to cryopreserve them. That means we can freeze them, we can keep them in liquid nitrogen for 3 years or so, and when patients are sick, we can basically just thaw the cells and infuse it by the bedside. Wow. So it has really transformed this field of regulatory T cell therapy, and we believe that with our vision, since we are targeting autoimmune diseases, we will be able to penetrate into the patient's primary area of care, which is in doctor's offices, not just in the tertiary center. The other part that differentiates us on the business side is that we were very much driven by clinical data. So you will see in our company, we are a group of clinicians of manufacturing side, on the regulatory side, which is ex-academia. Mm-hmm. We have been focused in terms of creating a product that is viable. So you won't see big names, but most of our focus was that we are able to create a process, we are able to create a technology that can be reproduced over a period of time repeatedly. And the money that we spent was to make sure that the quality of that process is streamlined, so it's what we say is scalable. Having done that, we also leveraged our relationships with our colleagues in the academia, colleagues in upscale in all these high universities, so that when the crisis came in 2020 with the pandemic, where most of the companies were taking it easy or not working, we doubled up our work. And the reason we were able to do that is because our partnerships with Johns Hopkins, with Columbia University, with University of North Carolina, we were able to communicate with our colleagues, we were able to ship our products, and in a period of 7 months, we were able to complete a trial of 45 patients, randomized placebo-controlled trial.
Oh, wow.
So why I say all this is that you have to take a step back, that right now we are a group of 7 people core in the company. But we have tremendous network in terms of consultants, colleagues, supporters who believe in what we are doing because they are inspired by the story or the outcomes of the patients.
Yeah.
So as a company, we had been singularly focused on making sure that fail fast. If our product doesn't work, iterate. If we are able to get key insights from patients and we are able to deploy into new products. And in a short period of time, we have a pipeline of 4 clinical products and 6 products in the R&D.
Yeah. There must have been challenges throughout the whole of this journey as well. How do you, I suppose, what have been the main challenges, and then how have you overcome them?
So we had a tremendous challenge. I mean, I'm glad you asked that because, in addition to the core, which is common to almost every biotech, is financing. That was a real challenge for us. We have been able to survive, we've been able to thrive with our initial investors, with institutional financing, but it allowed for us to really stay disciplined. And I won't use the word frugal, but we optimized the monies in a way so that every dollar spent amounts to an output or an outcome that allows for us to tell our story and strengthen our pipeline. Challenge number 2 was in terms of huge learning curve on the regulatory side. So for myself, I'll give you an example, having no exposure to how pharmaceutical companies run trials and having been in academia, I personally had to spend tons of hours re-educating myself with my team, and I had to do every single aspect of regulatory filing. So in our company, we are very fortunate to have our Chief Operating Officer, Tara Sadeji, who is instrumental in our company's build-up. We have Monica Villa, who is heading our CMC. So we have a very strong team. It's a no-nonsense team. And it's not by design, but most of us are women. But the focus was that let's just keep our noses to the ground, do the work. If there is a obstacle, how do we overcome it? As an example, when we were filing one of our INDs for CK0804, our product for myelofibrosis, because it was a phase 1 study, we thought that research grade materials would be okay, which FDA had allowed, but then suddenly FDA changed their guidance. So we had to work with our colleagues in Germany to really do the testings that were asked of us, and it set us back by a year or so, but we were able to overcome that, and it has prepared us now so that when our trial finishes, we have done the part 1 safety study already, we are waiting on the expansion cohort, we are ready for a phase 2 and maybe registration. So every challenge that we were facing, we were able to see how we are able to learn from it and how we are able to deploy it so that our product becomes stronger, and that when, let's say in 2-3 years from now, when we have to go back to the agency, we have solved for current points of failure and we have thought for future challenges that might present themselves.
I think mindset-wise, obviously resilience comes into it a lot, but it sounds like you just got that support network from just an incredible team behind you as well.
We have great mentors, we have great team, We, most importantly, are patients who believed in us and who took a chance on the clinical trials. And I must tell you, it's a cheesy quote, but it says like, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with your team. And I think that I 100% give credit to our amazing team who have worked tirelessly for the past several years. And I'll give you an example. This was probably one of the first weekends which was off, and the head of our CMC, Monica, she was with her family, and they had some celebrations. Her daughter was braiding her hair, and we got a call from Children's Hospital that this young woman, she was 23, she was sick. She was sick with COVID. She was, 36 weeks, 36 weeks pregnant, and she's not going to make it. So the PI called us, and at that time we had a study going on, and our chief of operation, Tara, I called her. I'm like, this is, I'm sorry, but I don't know what to do. And she called Monica, and they were like, nope, we're there. And in 30 minutes, the whole team left their families, came to the company office, the lab. And Texas Children doesn't have their own GMP or cell therapy lab.
Mm-hmm.
So our company acted as an extension for Texas Children's. We got the FDA to approve the IND within 24 hours. We were able to infuse the cells. That woman left the hospital alive and well with her child with nasal cannula. She is thriving right now. So, these anecdotes, these stories really empowered the company, and it helped us go through difficult times. For example, when we had low financing and whatnot, because the people who work in the company are really so close to the patient stories that it fulfills a part of them, which is really to be part of this amazing journey that can transform patients' lives. So, and I can go on and on. We have so many stories, and I think the fact that we are such a horizontal organization and that we are able to communicate, everybody is literally one phone call away from each other. It allowed for us to stay very close and stay strong. Of course, we have differences. We've had disagreements internally, but as a group over the past several years, we have come to work together and face these challenges with a common goal of improving patient lives.
Yeah, that's what it's all about when you tell these real life stories. Just talk us through 2024 as well, and why it was such a big year.
2024 was actually difficult for almost every biotech company in the world, especially for cell and gene therapy. I think a lot of, it's very well known, a lot of cell and gene therapy companies went bankrupt. An example is Gamida Cell, that had a product that's approved, but even being a public company, they had to really be sold. So it was very scary for us. And the fact that the cells, the umbilical cord blood cells, are a reagent of our drug product, that story had to be told, and it was difficult for investors to understand that why we are able to productize it, whereas 99% of the cell and gene therapy are not able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to be able to make our case, we had to go back and make sure that we publish our data. And the 2024, I think we put out maybe 5 or 6 publications, all in peer-reviewed journals. We are very excited. Our aplastic anemia data got published in New England Journal of Medicine Evidence. It was a real landmark because with single infusion, we were able to show that patients with aplastic anemia who have been transfusion dependent, getting 5 platelet transfusions per month, getting 4 red blood cell transfusions per month, after a single infusion became completely independent, and that durability lasted for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So 3 years had to pass for us to be able to show as a company that what we are doing is transforming the disease, and there is no shortcuts to it. So once that time was gained, we were able to publish our data. Now we are so strong in terms of our compelling points that not only we are treating the patients with a sound scientific hypothesis, but we are able to show clinical outcomes that we are able to tie down with the mechanism of action which is resolving inflammation, increasing Treg cells both in the blood and the bone marrow. So all those ancillary studies had to be performed. So year 2024 was not so good in terms of financial side, but in terms of our publications and data output, I think we had a very strong year. And as we embark on 2025, we leverage our strengths from the clinical data, and hopefully we are going to be able to take our product to market within the next couple of years.
Amazing. Thanks so much for coming and joining the BioHub. And
thank you.
Good luck for the rest of JPM.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.